So in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Hiley Rider Tiger T8 Pro electric scooter, which is their high-performance dual-motor commuter scooter model. So Hiley Rider is an electric mobility company that was established in 2016, and they specialize in the R&D and manufacturing of electric scooters and electric bicycles. And Hiley Rider does make a couple other scooter models, with the Tiger T8 Pro we're testing being the more affordable dual-motor model. So in this video, I'm going to go over the assembly process, go in-depth on the features and specs, do an acceleration test, a braking test, and a review on how it rides. So now, let's get to it. So the Tiger T8 Pro comes in your standard scooter shipping box, but it is pretty heavy, so make sure to be careful when moving, and if possible, have someone help you move it. After opening, the scooter was fully assembled, which is a first for any scooter that I've ever ridden. All you have to do is remove all the packing foam and zip ties, unfold the handlebars, and tighten the brake levers and throttle. Include in the box with the necessary tools and instruction manual. The whole process only took between 5 and 10 minutes, with most of the time being spent on cutting off the zip ties. By far, this is the easiest scooter they've ever put together, so you should have no problem putting it together by yourself, regardless of your mechanical skill level. So the T8 Pro is powered by dual 600 watt hub motors and has 3 speed settings. 1, which has a top speed of 9 miles per hour, 2, which has a top speed of 22 miles per hour, and 3, which has a top speed of 31 miles per hour. The battery is a 48 volt, 15.6 amp hour lithium ion battery that's replaceable and is IP54 waterproof rated and has a claimed range up to 31 miles on a single charge. The T8 Pro comes with an extremely powerful dual drum braking system with EBS, with the right lever activating the front brake and the left lever powering the rear brake. The tires are 8-inch solid tires, so you don't have to worry about getting flats. And to help out with ride comfort, there's a dual shock suspension that does a really good job at smoothing out the ride and helping with bump compliance. For safety and increased visibility, there's a headlight, tail light, a bell, and side lights on the deck. And for ride comfort, there's also an adjustable handlebar height. The dashboard has a very simple and clean display design that shows your speed, speed mode, battery level, and odometer. And my scooter was equipped with an NFC device. So to turn on the scooter, you hold down the power button for 3 seconds while holding the key card to the scanner, and then the scooter powers on. And I'm a really big fan of this system since the scooter can't be turned on, so people can't steal it. And on the left side of the handlebars are the buttons to switch between eco mode and the regular power output. And below that button is where you switch between the single motor and dual motor drives. The Tiger T8 Pro has a length of about 43.5 inches, a wheelbase of 38 inches, the handlebar height from its lowest position is 37 inches, the handlebar height from its highest position is 47 inches, the handlebar width is about 23 inches, the deck length is 23 inches, the deck width is 8 inches, the deck height from the ground is 8.5 inches, ground clearance is 6 inches, and it weighs in at 53 pounds. So for the acceleration test, I want to check the acceleration both in single motor and the dual motor, both to 25 miles per hour. First was the single motor setting. Single motor, level 3 to 25 miles an hour. And go. $15, $20, $25. Okay, dual motor to 25. Here we go. 3, 2. Woo! Jeez. 15, 20, 25. Oh my God. Oh wow. So here's the final results. In the single motor setting, the scooter got to 15 miles an hour in 5.4 seconds, 20 miles per hour in 9.3 seconds, and 25 miles per hour in 16.5 seconds. And in the dual motor setting, the scooter got to 15 miles an hour in 3.7 seconds, 20 miles per hour in 4.6 seconds, and 25 miles per hour in 6.7 seconds. So I have to say, in the single motor setting, this scooter's pretty quick. But when the dual motor setting is activated, this scooter is absolutely bonkers. But to see how fast the scooter really was, the only way I could think of was to put it in a drag race against another scooter, the Hiboy Max Pro, which is a relatively quick scooter with a 500 watt rear hub motor, and it costs around the same price as the T8 Pro. So in this race, the camera is actually on the Max Pro, and it's being ridden by my wife, who's about 50 pounds lighter than me. So let's see what happens.
1, 2, 3.
As you saw, in the dual motor setting, the T8 Pro just stomps on the Max Pro. And when we did this race with the T8 in the single motor setting, the drag race was actually pretty close. But when the dual motor setting is activated, the T8 Pro just walks away from the Hiboy with ease. And just a heads up, I'm not saying the Hiboy is a bad scooter. It's actually a great scooter. I just want to show how fast the Tiger T8 Pro is compared to a 500 watt single motor scooter. Next, I want to test out the braking distance for two different speeds, 15 miles an hour and 25 miles per hour. First was from 15 miles an hour, which the T8 Pro did an impressive 14.5 feet. Next, I want to see what it'd do from 25 miles an hour, and the T8 Pro stopped in a very impressive 23.5 feet. And I have to say, I was blown away by the braking performance of this scooter. Not only because of its stopping distance, but also how stable it was under braking. One thing I do have to mention though, is that these brakes are insanely strong, and they're very touchy, and they actually might be the strongest brakes that I've actually seen on a scooter that I've personally ridden. So the Tiger T8 Pro has a very aggressive looking frame design that's made of 6061 alloy, has a well-made premium feel, and so far through my extensive testing, the T8 Pro has held up extremely well to daily use. The 600 watt motors are almost completely silent and they're extremely smooth, providing very good acceleration when only one is being used and bonkers acceleration when both are activated. The scooter is able to cruise around at 28 miles an hour pretty easily and it's very comfortable, but it starts to run out of steam after that and takes a little longer to get to 31 miles an hour. One thing I really noticed is how good the ride is, which really surprised me since most solid tire scooters tend to have a pretty harsh ride, but the T8 Pro was surprisingly smooth, with the suspension doing a fantastic job of handling bumps and cracks in the road. It's not as smooth as a scooter with air-filled pneumatic tires, but it's very smooth for solid tires. And I weigh about 175 pounds, and the T8 Pro had no issues getting up to speed and climbing regular hills. Even when going up some of the steeper hills in my neighborhood, I was able to still climb up the hills around 27 to 28 miles per hour. And so far in all my testing, this scooter in the single motor mode has averaged between 20 and 24 miles of range per charge, which pleasantly surprised me. So I feel that realistically 31 miles is possible if you're much lighter than me and you're riding in optimal conditions. But when you use the dual motor, obviously the range goes down from there. I haven't tested the range with only the dual motor setting, but I imagine that 11 to 14 miles is a pretty safe bet. So overall, I'm blown away with the Tiger T8 Pro. This scooter really surprised me on how much fun it was to ride and the ridiculous acceleration, and it has a very premium feel and ride. And while I really do like this scooter, it's not perfect, and it's how much the front end dips when braking. This is due to the plush suspension and extremely powerful brakes. In order to counteract this, all you have to do is position your body farther back on the scooter when braking. In conclusion, this is one of the highest quality scooters I've ever ridden, and I'm extremely impressed with it. It looks good, it's very powerful, has amazing brakes, and it's one of the funnest scooters I've ever ridden. So hats off to Hiley Rider for designing a rocket ship of a scooter for a price that most people can afford. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great one.